Okay, welcome everyone to another edition of Lupus Talks. My name is Ed Peterson. I am basically the producer of this show, and I'm just super excited that we have Dr. Williams and Miss Dolores Olson on as the uh, host and co-host of the show of Lupus Talks, based out of North Las Vegas, Nevada. And what Dr. Williams will be, of course, sharing with you guys is going to be phenomenal, educational, and up to date, so we can get everybody on board and help as many as we can on this platform to educate them, to elevate them, and so they can continue to live the lifestyle that they deserve. So, with that, I want to thank you all for tuning in for this edition of Lupus Talks. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Williams. Take it away.
Hi, thank you for your introduction. I'd like to thank everyone who's with us and those that are not. I ask you to round them up and get them interested in lupus, get them interested in autoimmune diseases, because we know for a fact that there are quite a few people out there, and there are going to be more people out there with all the things and missiles going up in the air. You know, that gets into our lungs, and our lungs change it into whatever it's going to change into. And I think that's very important. So we know our health, we know what we're eating, we know what exercise we're doing. There's a lot of exercises. There's a lot of hand exercises that you can do for your heart, liver, all of that for your brain. Uh, those of you that are taking medication, continue to take that medication until your doctor says, hey, you know, you don't need this one, you don't need that one. We are going to talk about certain things, and my co-host is too, just life in general. But what causes lupus? You know, lupus is lupus. You know, it's unknown. It's not going anywhere. But lupus is an autoimmune disease that takes out everything. SLE takes out everything in your body if it's active. I brought some stats that I wanted to share with the other guests that were supposed to come on, but we'll do those stats later. As we go into this, what I did, I've already been into it. I'd like to let everyone know that stay read up on all types of diseases. It's very important that you do that, because if you don't, you're going to be hurting yourself and the family. We don't know when there's going to be a time that all of us are going to have to stay in the house. Things happening, wars happening everywhere. So we don't know when they pull that actual horn to say everybody stay in the house. So we got to think about that. And we have to have enough food. We have to have a 90-day supply of medicine. The older folks, if they live next door, I ask that you go over there to find out how they are. Are they doing good? A lot of older folks basically are separate from their kids, and the kids can't get to them. So the people that are available can't. You know, I used to work for Red Cross, and that's one of the things that we did. We made sure when it was a disaster that we were helping everyone, you know, that nobody was out there with nothing. So that's what we did. I'm going to turn it over to Dolores so she can speak on what other items there is to speak of, and then she can bring it back to me and we can talk about a lot of things. Thank you for joining us, Dolores.
Hello, everybody. Lupus is like we all I was just mentioning that lupus is an autoimmune disease. You know, there's so many things that can happen with your body, and that's why it's always good to have always a first and a second opinion of things, because when you go to find out about the treatment, as we know that you're supposed to go to a specialist. It's a specialist that specializes in lupus, because you can't just go to any specialist. That specialist will be only for that certain type of need. So you will have to go to a specialist that specializes for lupus, so that way they can get you on the right track on what to do, because lupus can really could take control of us. You know, it could kill us. It's, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I said some have survived from it, some have there's they have died from it. And so
Mm-hmm.
when you learn to recognize the signs, it's more chances of living when you and associate too with diet too, because I know that certain when you lupus, certain things you can't have, you know, like we used to. And
Yes,
so
true.
the more we just stay in contact of what we have, stay on track of it, the more that we will recognize the symptoms, and always have your education. That's why it's good that this is an educational platform that will teach you.
That's right. That's right. I think that's good, Dolores, because there are a lot of foods that we cannot have. We can't have the olive oil. We can't have the, what is it? It's, you eat it all the time. It's the white, curly little things you put in um, Chinese food. I forgot what it is. Alfalfa sprouts. We
Alfalfa
can't
sprout.
have that. We can't have that. A lot of us are not supposed to be eating the beef because the beef actually, if we have, this is arthritic. If we have arthritis in our body, that meat will last about 3 days in our bodies. And if we have aches and joints and everything else hurting us with arthritis and osteo, that makes it hurt even more. I know I'm saying these things, and there's backup to it. If you look it up, you can get the information you need. So when you go to the restaurants, make sure you ask them, is this, you put olive oil, it's not olive oil. Have you put peanut oil in it? Because peanut oil will shut our throats up in a minute. The olive oil is very good for us, very good for us. So that's something we can have. In this family, we have stopped eating bread. We eat the lettuce that you can buy. They're small, well, they're big. It's the leaves. And so we eat that and wrap it up like bread, and it really tastes good. Um, Most recently, my doctor had told me that they found out, they did a test on how I got lupus. They wanted to know, how did this all happen with the blindness? Because I went blind in 2000, and I couldn't see. My vision was impaired. So therefore, a lot of things happened to me. I had to back off of my job. That hurt me because there was a lot of money in there from the Valley in the Bay Area, Silicon. It hurt me. It would hurt any of us. And you have a young son, you're a single parent. But most of all, when they found out, they said that my lupus was drug induced. I was shocked. Drug induced. And because I read and obsess with lupus all the time, I said, "Are you telling me induced?" Most of the time, that drug induced is actually when something happens where men may have something. I'm trying to think. It's that high blood pressure. It's something. It's something medical they have. So don't quote me on that. Look it up. And after they get through taking the drug, then they go back to normal, with their bodies. Me, on the end, they kept giving it to me, giving it to me, giving it to me, giving it to me. And I ended up drug induced. So that's how I have my lupus. And yes, I was quite upset about it because it didn't have to happen, but God has a reason for all things. But still, I was I was upset. Fleshly, I was upset because it took a lot out of me. And, I had to come back to home. I had to come back home and deal with the situation. But I was not happy. I was not happy. And there's other things that's happening too, that we have to be careful of, because these doctors would do so many things. They're good doctors and bad doctors. The bad doctors, we look at, don't want you to intervene in their conversations. When you try to get a conversation out, I've had my lupus people tell me this, they wouldn't let them talk. So there was a problem. They couldn't talk to him. They knew everything. That's the doc. He knew everything. There was nothing he did not know or she did not know. And one time I was doing a fair, and one doctor came up and was talking about uh, Michael Jackson. I had to think about Michael Jackson, and he says, "Well, that's Jacko, and Jacko had vertigo." And I know all about lupus. So we were up there at one of the big hospitals over in the southern area with our health fair, and I let him. I said, "Excuse me, sir, can I ask you a question, doctor?" He said, "Yeah. If you know so much about lupus and you say you can cure it, can't you cure me right now? Because I have lupus. Is that just talk you're giving out, or what?" And furthermore, people talking about others who have diseases, they need to back up from that. because a lot of us lupus people have vertigo too. Not vertigo. We have vitiligo. I think it's vitiligo. And we have vertigo. Vertigo is the one that you get dizzy and you have to take the pill because, you're not stable on your feet. And it looks like you're walking on on a, on a rock and you're going up, but you're not going up. You're stable. You are stable, but your mind tells you got to go up on that rock. You got to go up on that rock. And that is what you call, I have to take the pills for. That's what I call it. But vertigo, excuse me, that's what it is. It is white patches on your body. Now, right now, I have little patches that are growing white, that are growing bigger and bigger and bigger and wider and wider and wider. There are some models who model and have that, have those patches on their body. And I say, thank you that they're showing the people that they don't have to be embarrassed about it. They have it on their face, their elbows, and everything. And I think that's a wonderful thing because it lets people know they don't have to be ashamed of what they have because of the fact that it was given to them. And I mean, not contracted out. So a lot of people say, oh, you can catch it from you can catch it from me. No, you can't. So it's just a lot of things that we do that we try to make sure that people understand what it is and don't be frightened about it because you have people that love you and then you have people who disapprove of you. Then you have people on holidays when all families get together. Our families used to do that, but I didn't have lupus. And we had to get together for Christmas, Thanksgiving in the Bay Area. And that was the most time that I did not want to get together with with my parents and my cousins because somebody got into it. So I just tell you there's a side note. So I don't do any inviting over to my house that my son has reconstructed and everything, and I thank God for that. He did a good job. I don't do that because of the fact I don't know who and what cousin's going to come in here, and I'm not able enough to stop something, to be in the middle of something. So I say that because a lot of people don't understand lupus, and they may say, "Oh, she has lupus," but nothing's wrong with her. Nothing's wrong with her. She is just pretending to get a lot of people looking at her. She wants pity. She wants pity. Nothing wrong with her. So a lot of us stay away. A lot of us stay in our rooms. A lot of us have the quiet life where we're with ourselves. And we do that because we don't want to hear anyone say they know what it is and it's not bad and all she needs to do is eat the right food and exercise. Dolores, do you understand what I'm saying? Because it hurts. It really hurts that happens. And I know we talked about this quite a bit. Missy Elliott was on television the other day. And she's got really thin with her Graves' disease, really thin, but she looks good. So it's just something that if you have a disease, you have it. You know what you have because you study it all the time. Am I correct? You study it all the time.
Yes.
So, yeah, so that's what we have. And would you like to tune in on the people when you have to be alone because people don't understand your disease, don't understand this, don't understand that. And so I'm going to let Dolores take it from here to share her points of the different diseases that when people have to hide, they've got a disease, they hide. That's the comfort zone for us. That's our comfort zone. Dolores?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you just don't know what's happening into the person's mind when they have any form of disease. There's any form of disease. Some of them they go into a depression mode that they will isolate from people. In which
Yeah.
my suggestion is never to isolate from when you're going through something. You need to talk to somebody, at least have a therapist or something, because when you shelter yourself in and that it can cause more problems, because your depression can get worse. I can understand that that depression, that you're depressed because you have this form of disease. This could go with any form of disease. We just have to learn how to cope through it and still enjoy life because life is still it's too short. It's too
Yeah,
short.
absolutely.
And yes, life is too
Absolutely,
short,
Dolores.
and we
Yeah,
need to enjoy life.
yeah. Well, she said it right because I have Dolores that will call me all the time, Chaplain Dolores. And she gets the tone of my voice. What's wrong? And I get the tone of hers. And then we have her mother, Janice, and Nadine. There's so many relatives that will call. They feel something's wrong with me, and they'll call me and see what's going on, and try to get me up out of my stupor. But at this point, there's sometimes you do need that peace of mind that surpasses all understanding, because these people, there's mean people out there, mean. And that's why I don't advertise my disease on Facebook, on Instagram. I see all of them saying I have this, I'm in the hospital, this is happening. I'm not saying anything wrong about that, but I'm saying for me, I don't want people to give me any pity. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I'll be praying for you, all of that. I just don't like them giving me all of those accolades, because they're not to me. I don't like them seeing me with tubes in me and all of that. That's just not happening for me. So when I went in the hospital last time, years ago, I told, they got wind that I went in to the hospital and I had over 48 to 50 calls on that, on the main line with the nurses. And they told me, will you tell these lupus people to stop calling? And I said, well, I don't know their numbers. She was hot. She was hot, Dolores. She was hot. You don't know where they are. They will call from the Sahara Desert because they've known you, they've heard about you, they love you. And I think that's so important. That is so important. And now that we have, Dolores, the 2025, the Medicare, the Medicaid coming out, we don't know what's happening. We're living like, okay, what are you guys going to do next? What's going to happen to my, Medicare, Medicaid? What's going to happen? What are you guys going to add? Because I've been to my doctor lately, and certain things have happened that I get bills in here, $30, $50. I never had that. I never had that happen to me. Rarely did I have that happen with $15 or something. I don't pay for specialists or any of that, but you better ask them before you go into an MRI, before you go into just to get an x-ray. You better ask them how much this is going to cost you. Because I just recently went in there for a mammogram, and some man had to pay $45 just to be seen, just to get whatever he's going to get with his x-rays. And I just think that is just, I know somebody has to be paid, Dolores, and people out there in cyberspace, but what if that's your last? What if that's your last? What are you going to do? You're going to eat, or you're going to pay for this x-ray? And that's what people are talking about now. They don't know what to do, how to do. They just don't. And my heart goes out for them because, I've been that way. I have been that way, and I didn't tell family, didn't tell my son, and none of them, because their money is their money, and they don't feel that way. My son said, Mama, my money's not my money. My money is there to help you as well. But you still feel guilty. And a lot of us hold that back, Dolores, as we need it, but we don't need it. We'll wait on payday to get it. Am I correct, Dolores?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, payday, we'll get it on payday. And with all this medicine vanishing, I'll just say that. What happens if the true medicine that we need vanishes? Like I know, Dolores wants to share it with the Graves' disease. What happens if that medicine vanishes? Just like, what was it, the hydrochloroquine? That was vanishing when President Trump said something about it actually can help you with COVID. Well, when I went back to my doctor, they only gave me 30 pills. I said, you guys usually give me 90 pills. What if I have to take 2 pills? Then you have to come right back. And I started thinking, what if they ran out of this? What am I going to do? That's why, I'll go to supplement stores and all of that and start researching. And that's what I do. I research supplements and all of that in case the medicine actually dries up. And that's what I'm expecting down the line, just like the food, the truck drivers, a whole bunch of them are going on strike. So, Dolores, what are we going to do?
Yeah, That's a big thing. If the whole truck drivers are going to go on strike in that, we're going to have some serious issues, and we're going to have to
Yeah,
find out A,
they're
B,
doing it
C,
now,
something.
Dolores.
Yes.
What we gonna do? And that's what I'm saying. It's not fear, but what are we gonna do? Because some of our prescriptions and things like that may come by that huge truck. You know, may come by the huge truck. What are we going to do? You know, those who really need those medications, which all of us do, else we wouldn't be on them. You know, when is enough? When do you say enough is enough? What's going to happen to me? And is that where priorities are put in? Like she has more illnesses than you do. You see what I'm saying? Or she's elderly and she needs these hard pills. You know, it's like take a ticket and we're going to pick the lottery ticket. We're picking the lottery ticket. We're going in the bowl right now and pick the lottery ticket. I think about that all the time because it's something that I believe is going to happen. I believe it's going to happen because people are holding back. They're holding back. And now they stop those food trucks, the trucks, period. We're not going to have the food that we need. We're not going to have it. And Dolores, I got a big watermelon the other day from a store. And 2 days, I had it in the bag, plastic bag. And 2 days, the watermelon bust open. It's a seedless watermelon. It bust open and had a terrible smell. It was horrific. And I was going to take it back, but I couldn't. It just smelled like something. It smelled like something dead. And, and I didn't like it. My nostrils couldn't take it. And I'm telling you the truth. Now, that food out there is being played with now. We shouldn't mention the name, but they're taking the seeds out, and the seeds that we grew up on, those seeds and everything that we have in the fruit is very important for us. We were raised on that. Now all of a sudden it's just going out the door. People are manipulating the food that we have that we buy. So we're not getting the same food that we got once before. We're not getting, even in, Dolores, you'll be happy to hear, not happy, but you'll like to know about this, even in organic. Remember the time I called you and I said they're messing with the organic food now?
Yeah, she did say that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
they're
remember
messing.
that too.
Yeah,
You do
they're
gotta
messing
watch
with it.
out, even on organic
Mhm.
too. Just really do your research.
Yeah, they are doing that. Um, I look at and I look at the 9. They tell me look at 9, it's okay. Like if you look at your fruit, you start off with the 4s. I don't know if that's no GMO. And you start off with the 6s. I mean, I start off. You go to 6, and that has uh, that has been manipulated with. You go to the 8. I don't think it's 8. I think it's 9,
Mute.
and 9 is good. You can do it.
Okay,
I
Miss
won't.
Christy
I won't.
Stuckey is live and here.
Oh,
Hello,
okay.
Christy.
Hi, good afternoon. Sorry about the technical problems. I'm having some internet and some PC and hardware issues today, but I
No, that's all
finally got
right.
it figured out. So,
Oh, that's all right. Well, Steve, I'm glad you're here, and
Yes.
we're going to continuation of Lupus Talks. And Dr. Williams, you can do your questions that you have for
Okay. Great. Great. We'll
Stuckey,
just jump right in
and
it. I
that
just
way we
have.
can go from there. And Dolores,
I
you
want
too as
her.
well.
I'm sorry. I just have a question that you can answer down the road. And I was reading it, and it talks about like lupus, the cost for lupus. If I round it off, it'd be like $14,000 for mild lupus, and then it would be moderate lupus, 29,000, rounded off to 30, and then severe lupus, which I have, round that off to $70,000. Is that something down the road? Is that something they'll take into consideration? Because of our disease.
Hold on, Dr. Williams. She just dropped off. She's going to have to reconnect.
Okay. Well, she heard my questions, right?
Yeah, she heard your question.
I'm glad she's on.
Yeah, she got a lot of good information.
Oh yeah, I want to hear this. Let me get my, like Dolores said, let me get my pencil ready and my pad. She say that in church. Uh, oh, let me get my pencil and pad again. Dolores, you there?
I am here.
Yeah, you got your pencil and pad ready?
Yeah, I have my information.
Okay, because I'm gonna, I want to write down what she's saying with Medicare and Medi-Cal, with Medicare and Medicaid. Medicare.
Yeah, this will be for the for our elderly people and people in general. Basically, she's going to be
Uh-huh.
sharing this information with about so we can uh, keep up
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
date of what's going on out here.
Communities with very low income, you know.
Exactly.
Okay.
But you were looking at the cost of everything, Dr. Williams, on that front. I don't think everybody's prepared or ready to pay this kind of price for medical assistance or medical attention to them dealing with those who have lupus and various different forms of lupus.
Mm-hmm.
And, and then the diagnosis is one thing, being diagnosed is one thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And making sure that he's back on the stage. Yeah, making sure that, okay, Miss Ducky, we got you back. Unmute your mic. You're muted. Hey, unmute your mic. Let me see. She's having that technical difficulty again. Let me see.
Let's see.
Yeah, she's gonna have to reconnect again.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's
I'm
technical
so
difficulties.
eager. I'm eager to hear this.
Okay, now
I
she's
just
coming
want.
back. Let me add. Did you connect the mic? Wait a minute, what? Yeah. She's gonna have to connect and reconnect again. I don't know what's going on with her computer. Or why it's doing that. We're all on. Let me take myself off.
This is what I drink during the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
that's that Fiji water.
Yeah, it's different because it's smooth going down your throat. It's so smooth.
All right. We got him
Yay!
back.
There we go.
All right.
I think I got it this time. I have like three different devices, and I keep trying my phone, my computer, and it was just not. I thought we had it, and then the computer said nope, no microphone. So I don't know what was happening. But you can hear me now,
Okay.
right?
Yes, yeah, we
Yes,
can hear you
yes.
loud and clear.
Okay.
So as
Okay.
we were
Fantastic. Okay.
okay, so Dr. Williams, finish the conversation that you was just leaning to
Did she hear it?
for Miss Ducky.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, good. What I was asking is that when we talk about autoimmune diseases, specifically lupus, there was a study published in 2021. More than 2,000 people with lupus had found that it was heavy cost. It was a burden to treat the condition, according to the study. And they said mild lupus was like rounded off 14,000, but it said 13,415. That's mild. Moderate is 29,512, and severe is like 68, and I rounded it to 70, 68,260. And the hospitals and outpatient visits were leading cost drivers with this because they always go into the hospital.
Oh, wow. She dropped off again. I'm sorry, Dr. Williams. Technical difficulties with her station. I don't know what's going on with her computer or whatever. Because if you don't have, if it's not okay, you have to be compatible with today's technology. So hopefully she has something that's to the back on stage. Okay, there we go. You back?
Yep, I'm back again. I hope it.
Okay.
I'm staying. I'm keep coming back.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully you should be okay now.
Did you,
So
you heard it, right?
Yes, the amount of money that you can spend as a lupus patient is quite extraordinary for all the care and medications. I did hear that. Yes.
Okay.
So that's
So,
what's going to make what I say even more interesting, because the Inflation Reduction Act and the changes that are coming in Medicare that I'm here to talk to you about today are absolutely going to impact the lupus community as well as every senior that has Medicare. It's the first change in almost 40 years to
uh,
Medicare that has occurred that is going to greatly impact every individual on Medicare and healthcare systems. So,
mhm.
and it's relevant to other non-Medicare recipients as well, because when you think about inflation and the cost of medications every year that are going up and up, and the inflation is making it worse, right? So let's talk about the Inflation Reduction Act, because we are giving training and knowledge and education on this because it is a major change in Medicare, and it's something that has been put out to help the seniors to lower their cost of their meds next year. And what it is, so if you've heard IRA or Inflation Reduction Act and you've read in the newspapers or the media, or you've heard other agents in the community talking about it and telling you, hey, you need to pay attention this year. This is huge. This is a big change to Medicare and its entire medication drug delivery system. Okay. So there are lots of changes happening in the drug side beside the IRA, which is they're trying to crack down on the transparency and the pricing and what drug companies charge for their medications. And even there was a Parkinson's medication that came out for 2 years. It was rushed to the market. It went past, there's 3 levels of phases of testing drugs, and it was in phase 2, and they pushed it through to the market before it even got to phase 3. It was 2 years on the market, and for somebody with Parkinson's, they could get this new drug for around about $300,000 a year for the drug. Now, they were excited to even have a drug because today, as of this moment, there is no real drug for that disease, right? Or that condition. But the drug was found to do nothing. It was basically the value of a sugar pill. People were paying $300,000 for a drug, and people were making money on this drug. And they just recently, FDA said, you're off the market because your product doesn't work. But they spent 2 years making millions of dollars off of this medication. So when I tell you, that things are becoming more stringent in the medical and pharmaceutical world, the Medicare system has recognized thieves like this company that have done these kind of things and gotten away with it. And you'll be surprised to know there's a lot of politicians that were behind that drug company. So somebody paid somebody to push that to market faster. They made a bunch of money, and the drug didn't really help anybody. So that being said, drugs cost a lot of money. Now, there are ones that actually work out there, right? And there are ones that actually will have a good outcome. But this just gives you an example why they need to crack down on the transparency in the drug market. And this is the first step of many of the government doing that and saying, hey, guys, you're charging way too much money, and we're going to start to attack this system. So the IRA, as it relates to Medicare, the Inflation Reduction Act that's being delivered to the Medicare program through CMS, is going to cap your medication costs next year to $2,000. Now, this is going to be a huge blessing for those lupus patients and those patients taking many very expensive drugs. It's going to help them quite. Or costs may not even be $2,000. Okay. And I'll explain to you what I mean by that in just a second when I explain the program. But to start off with, just to give you an example, this year we have something called a donut hole in Medicare. Next year, the donut hole will be gone. And that means when you're paying, as an example, you're going in, use an expensive drug like Ozempic. A lot of people are popular with that right now. It costs about $300 to $600 each time you go in to get that med for if you were paying retail cost. However, and now most drug plans you might pay, let's say as an example, $47. So if you're going in every month picking up your Ozempic, you're paying $47. Currently this year, when you reach $5,000 of drug costs, which won't take long to get there with Ozempic, you hit a donut hole this year, which costs you 25% when you hit that donut hole. Instead of that nice $47 copay, you're now paying 25%. And you get to the donut hole, which can cost a lot of money for seniors and people on these expensive drugs. So next year, the donut hole will go away. So no more 25%. And then agents and brokers have been asking for that to be eliminated for a very long time because many seniors just won't take their medications if they have to.
She's buffering.
If they have to pay for it.
Yeah, this is some good information
Yeah.
that she's sharing. And wow, Dolores just dropped off too. Okay, now they back. Now we back. Okay.
Hi, we're gonna try this again.
Okay.
Did you hear where I said you only have to pay $2,000?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. All right, I'll pick up from there then. So, many people were complaining about the donut hole. So the donut hole going away is great because many seniors just wouldn't pick up their drugs when they hit that donut hole and had to pay 25% for their medications. And if you can imagine, I'm sure some of the lupus patients are on very expensive medications, and those might be very costly at 25% pay. So with the donut hole gone, that's great news. Now you're only going to be paying your deductible, copay, and also hitting that maximum catastrophic level, which is $2,000. So the way that this works is if you have a $2,000 max, and let's say the plan has a $590 deductible, which is the deductible for next year, unless your carrier will eat some of that. So some carriers will say, hey, you got to pay that $590. We're not paying any of it. Some carriers might say, hey, we're going to pay a part of that. So maybe your deductible is only $290. But either way, whatever your deductible is, that's what you have to pay out of the pocket first. So many seniors who have always had a zero deductible are going to have a shock come next year if they don't get with a broker or an agent like myself and make sure that they're not getting hit with that deductible, because some plans are eating it and some plans are not. The government has put out a $590 deductible for next year. So if you go to the pharmacy in January and they say, hey, ma'am, you're here to pick up your drugs, you're going to owe us $590. And then whatever your copay or your co-insurance is after that is what you will pay in January if you don't get with somebody like myself, a broker or an agent, to look at the plans that might cover that deductible better or help you prepare financially for when you go into the pharmacy in January. And that's why we're trying to educate people, because what we don't want is our seniors going to the pharmacy in January, getting that big deductible and saying, I don't have the money and I'm going to leave without my medication, right? Because that's what seniors will do if they don't have the money for that. So what can you do as a consumer, and what has the Medicare program done to help protect you? Is they also required carriers, because they knew that kind of thing would happen. They're requiring carriers to provide a 12-month payment plan process as well. So you can call your carrier ahead of time before you go pick up your medications. Has to be done before you go to the pharmacy, okay? Doesn't work when you get there, and then you're going to have to deal with all the headache of not being able to pick up your meds, etc. But you can call your carrier that you're signing up with that offers this payment program, opt into the payment program. Now, you're not paying less for your drugs, but they will break up that $590 deductible as well as any cost of your medications over a 12-month period evenly, making it more cost effective for you to afford the deductible and the increased rates that you might have to pay for your medications next year. So while everything has been somewhat stable in the medication market up until now, everything's going wonky next year. And that's what I'm going to say. It's wonky next year. Don't get wonked, okay? You need to meet with a broker and check your medications, making sure, number one, that they're covered. Because many carriers to offset the trillions, and I do mean trillions of dollars that they are going to have to spend, because somebody's got to pay the bill after that $2,000 is met, and that's going to be the carrier is going to be expected to cover that additional cost of the medications, and you as a senior will only be responsible up to the $2,000. But that $2,000 is a maximum out of pocket for the true out of pocket expense, meaning it's what the carrier pays for the drug. So if you're going in and picking up Ozempic and the carrier is paying through $600 for that drug, and you're only paying $47, think of it like a 2,000-mile marathon. If you've paid your $590 deductible, you're at the 590 mark, right? And then if they pay another $300 towards your meds, then you're at the, almost $900 mark, right? And then you're paying $47, that goes into that too. And so when you hit that 2,000 with what the carrier is spending for your drug and you are spending for your drug, that's when the 2,000 mark hits. So if you had a very expensive drug like Ozempic, or some of these drugs are even $2,000 sometimes. So if you go in and pay your one copay, and that drug that the carrier pays for is $2,000, and you've paid your $590 plus your $47, if that's your copay, then you're done. You will pay zero for your medications for the rest of the year. Now, that's great news for those people on those expensive drugs. Now, here's the downside of this program, is that because the companies are now spending trillions of dollars to cover the meds, because they're capping the cost of the meds, the government is making them cap it at $2,000 for clients. They now have to pay for that for the rest of the year for you while you're paying zero. So they're going to offset that by lowering your benefits and cutting your making your premiums go up, making your deductibles go up, giving you a higher co-insurance or a copay for your medications, or cutting other benefits like dental, vision, hearing, in order to offset the cost that they're going to have to spend on the medications on these plans. And that's going to affect everybody, whether you're on medication or not. Everybody's going to pay for everybody's drugs, because the insurance carriers, of course, they're in it for a profit, many of them. So this is where your non-for-profit Medicare plans are going to have a step up this year. They are supposedly going to gain about a 30% market share from the major carriers. And I'm not going to mention any major carriers' names, but you know who they are. But we have non-for-profit groups in our marketplace that are able to handle that increase better than the for-profit companies. Let's put it that way. So the for-profit companies, what you're going to see is many of them are going to cut their formularies. They're going to just say, hey, we're not covering Dupixent anymore, which many of them, that's one of those drugs that they are stating that they're going to stop covering for some of the carriers, because it is very expensive and it represents a big spend. So you need to check and make sure with a broker or agent that your drug is actually covered next year, because there are tons of cuts going on. The second thing you need to be aware is that many of them are switching from a copay to a co-insurance. So if you don't want to pay 25% for your drug, which might be one of the percentages for like a brand name drug, then you'll want to switch to a carrier that charges a copay, for example. This is going to be a huge cost savings year to check your meds, because if you go in and wait until January, it's too late. You're going to be paying those big payments in January, and it'll be difficult for you to switch, to change that situation. So between October 15th and December 7th is your time to look at your plans for next year and pick a plan that's going to be best for you financially, that's going to cover those medications, and look at your benefits, because if you were counting on the same benefits that you've been getting, don't. There's changes, there's cuts coming, and it's going to get even more significant year after year. So if you've been putting off dental or other things like that, I don't know. I mean, we're a very aggressive market when it comes to dental benefits, and I'm not going to give numbers on this show because I'm not allowed to, but I will tell you that I will pretty much assure you that things like that are going to keep going downward. You're going to see a decrease in those types of benefits. So if you've been putting off dental because you just think those thousands of dollars are going to be there in these plans, they're not. They're going to be cutting them sharply. Some are keeping them, some are not. It may take 2 years to catch up, but I'll tell you right now, inflation is real. Medication costs are rising. Cost of everything is rising. And even with this cap, you will experience a change in the plan, even if you're saving money on your medications. they're going to make up for it in another area and change your plans. So you have to get with a broker or agent and make sure you look over your plan, see what your medications are going to be cost next year, see what meds are covered or not covered in your medication list, and have a plan to talk to your doctor. You may have to make medication changes with your doctor, which I know is never a pleasant thing, especially if you're a lupus patient, you're trying to keep yourself stable. So this is really important for the lupus community to be aware of. And if you have any questions or problems, you can always reach out to me. We can do a medication review and make sure that you're getting your medications covered properly, your doctors, as well as that your cost of meds as well, and how you can talk to your doctor about alternatives to certain drugs that might be canceled in the plans next year. So that is the IRA. That's how it's going to work. Just to recap, you're going to have your medications capped at $2,000 on all Medicare drug plans, both independent standalone plans as well as Medicare Advantage. And you're going to have a $590 deductible potentially, and some companies may or may not help you with that $590 deductible. So you need to look at your plan and see if that deductible is going to be covered or not. And many insurance plans might be cutting their formularies and changing from a copay to a co-insurance, which is a percentage versus a copay, which is a set fee that you pay for that medications. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Hopefully you got everything. If you have any questions about that, I'll be happy to answer them now. And you know, as always, I'm happy to give Medicare educationals or Medicare 101 information on Medicare works. But this is the important news I want to deliver and make sure it got through to everybody's ears, and that you share it with your community and everybody you know that's a senior, because seniors are thinking, it's just honky-dory like every other year. And let me tell you, the seniors that are finding out about this, there's going to be a increase of almost double the amount of seniors looking for help this year. What does that mean? That means brokers like myself are going to be inundated. There's only so many of us. So if you want to make sure that you actually have a broker to help you, getting started early, getting your appointment early, getting it out of the way is important, because I know there's a lot of procrastinators out there. And if you wait till the end of the season, it's very likely I won't be able to have even a spot to help you. Does that make sense to everybody? Did everybody hear me? I know I've been having audio issues.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yes, it
We
does.
heard you.
What about, is this for
What's that?
California too? Is this for California too? Oh, wow.
She dropped off again. Okay. But we only got 9 minutes left, Dr. Williams.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
It really is.
Happening. It really is, because that's happening all over the country.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. This is some good information that was down on the notes today, because you know we need to know all that information.
I'm back again.
What
This
about
is
Medicaid?
for every Medicare recipient, in the whole entire U.S. So this affects everybody. Okay.
Okay.
Now for Medicaid or under 65, this does not apply. Medicaid is a state-based program. Medicaid will still cover certain medicines, but this only affects the senior 65 and up. So if you're under 65, it is even scarier for the under 65 crowd, because there's no Inflation Reduction Act caps. So for the under 65 crowd, you could be exposed to some very high medication costs.
Where with Medicare?
Medicare that's the Inflation Reduction Act only applies to Medicare.
Okay, what about
The under 65 population have no cap.
What about Medicaid? So Medicaid has carte blanche.
Are you hearing me okay?
Yeah. Christy,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, what about Medicaid? You said what?
I said this Inflation Reduction Act applies to everybody that is 65 and up on Medicare.
Okay. Wow.
Or those that are disabled because of lupus that are under 65 on Medicare.
They don't want us here, huh? I'm sorry.
Hold on, let me put it in the chat.
Here. Huh?
Well, Christy, you have given us a plethora of information. I'm really excited that you are able to share this.
What's that?
That people, I say, I'm really glad that you was able to share this. You shared a lot of great information. We're definitely going to have you back on again when we get a little more clarity on these details and making sure that everybody from the lupus community understands how this actually will work for them. And getting with a broker is key. And so we want to get your. We're going to share your information with that, so that way everybody will know who they can contact in reference to those questions.
You are breaking up a little bit, but yes, I'm happy to answer any questions about the Inflation Reduction Act. And I'll put my contact information in the chat. So if anybody needs to reach out to me or get help, the best way is to text me. So I'm going to give you my cell number so that you have my cell phone number and my email address. But if anybody needs, I'm happy to help them. And they can also come by the office if you're living in Vegas. And we're happy to help them in person as well. We always have an agent here available and ready to assist anyone that walks in as well. So I just put that in here in the chat for everybody to see that if you got that. We're at the Medicare Resource Center.
She's off again.
Yeah, she's buffering. Yeah, I gotta see why that's happening like that. I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, because people want that information.
Yeah, we're gonna have her back on again to talk more. But anyway, with the contact information that she's gonna share, we can post that. We can share that on your Facebook page for Lupus, and then on the website.
Absolutely.
For Lupus, and so that way everybody will have that information and they can go directly to that. And this has been great topic for today. I really, okay, we're back. So this has been a great topic for today. Now she dropped back off. So we definitely want to continue this conversation as we continue. It's the first day of the month of October, and we want to continue this throughout the month of October, educating all of our lupus communities, patients, and everyone who suffer from autoimmune disease, what they can do and the steps they can take to get the things that they need to live comfortably. And it's a lot of changes happening during every election. It seems like everything has to go through another hoop and this and that. But our goal is to make sure that we're all available for those who can vote. And we want to make sure that we get the right people in office that's going to help us in reference to the walk that we do in lupus and making sure everybody understands the importance of that. So with that, I don't think she's going to be able to finish up on that.
She just texted me.
Yeah.
She said due to technical difficulties. Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah. So any last comments, Dolores and Calvinia? You guys got the last stage of the say as we close it out. What's your comments and what's your statement?
I was very excited to have Christy on because she's a wealth of knowledge. I see her as my broker October 15th, the first day. That's my birthday, and I'll be right there. It doesn't take too long because she knows my brother and I, so we can go right through everything. But my concern is, what about those that have lupus that are on kidney dialysis? How is that going to help them in terms of one of those medications they say they may not can take? There's a lot of questions here that, are unanswered that, I'll be asking her, and maybe we can put that on our site as well. But I want to thank everyone for joining in, and we are going to have a clear voice. What does he call it, Ed? We're going to have a clear voice instead of interruptions.
Yeah. We're going to have a clear conversation with the microphones. I got to get her prepped and ready for how she's set up, and that way, like you and Dolores and I, we're all good on our end. It's just some people that's not completely up to
Yeah.
date. I have to get them up to date. So
Yeah.
the other
Okay.
guests that we have to share with them what they're going to need to be able to be on this platform to talk about it on Lupus Talks.
Yeah, because this is deep. This is really deep. It's more to this than meets
Yes,
the
as
eye.
well.
You know, so Dolores, you want to say, I thank everybody for joining, and please stay tuned because we have more information for you. Dolores?
I just tell you this was some incredible, powerful information that we should know the knowledge about what's going on with the medical and all this, so that way we'll be aware of any hidden charges or anything. So this was an excellent show. We'd like to thank Christy for coming on, and we will see her soon again. And I love it, the information.
Mm-hmm. So true, so true. Ed?
Okay. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for tuning in for this edition of Lupus Talks. And we will be again coming back on next week, every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is our normal time frame. And we're going to be back on to talk more and get more information out to everyone in reference to how to handle and deal with lupus. So we want to make sure that you guys continue to share with us. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, as well as our website, lupusinNevada.org. Again, you want to get on that one, lupusinNevada.org. We'll keep you up to date on as well. And then also, Dr. Williams have books out, Loving God While Living with Lupus, and then we have Lupus Kids and so forth. And so
Yeah,
you
and
can
one
send
more
them,
coming out very soon.
right, and
It,
you can
it,
send our donations to her website, lupusinNevada.org, to support as we continue to share on this platform everything that we want to do to educate and uplift everybody with lupus. With that, I want to thank you all. It's been a plum pleasing pleasure, whether it's a privilege. That's from my brother Les Brown. We'll talk to you guys again, and we'll see you again next Tuesday on Lupus Talks. Bye for now.
all right.
Bye bye.